Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes, and I have an awesome guest with us today, Wynn, who is a pro bass fishing athlete. So that's super exciting. This is my first fishing athlete that I've had an opportunity to interview. So this is really, really good. Rod, why don't you start us off with introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about who you are and how you got your start in fishing.
Okay, well, first, thank you so much for having me. I guess I can turn that down. Thank you so much for having me, and it's just been a great honor to be on your show today. My name is Wynn. I'm from Inglewood, California, born and raised. I'm 45 years old. I'm a father of two, and I am an avid regional professional bass fisherman. And I got started fishing by my dad, who took my brother and I fishing at the local beaches here on the local jetties over here, Marina Del Rey and Redondo Beach when we were kids, like really small kids. Just the fact of catching a fish as a kid, that's a moment that you will never, ever forget. And it just stuck with me just by, watching shows on TV, because I'm going to be honest, growing up in Inglewood, we didn't necessarily have all the fishing shows in Inglewood because that wasn't a prominent thing in the inner city.
Right.
Being a black guy, these fishing shows were coming on a channel, and I'm going to age myself right now, but it's a channel called TNN, and that was called the Nashville Network. And that's where all the fishing shows to come on. So I used to have to try to figure out a way how to watch those. And that's where my love of fishing, and especially bass fishing, just grew upon leaps and bounds. And I'm still with it today. And this started back when I was, like 5 years old. So, 40 years into the game.
That's really amazing. So I want to touch on something really quick that you talked about, coming from Inglewood, this little black kid that's interested in fishing. And the funny thing, though, so I'm from Florida, the country, have uncles and grandfathers, all kind of people who love fishing. That was never my thing because I can't stay still that long and I can't stay quiet that long. But as a sport, right, as a competitive sport, we know that most Black people are not represented in fishing, right? So coming from where you come from, and now being a part of a community of athletes who don't necessarily look like you, have there been challenges that you face that you've had to try and overcome? And are there still some issues that you face being a Black man in fishing?
Absolutely. And, I can go back to when I first started fishing, as a kid, people just was amazed to see a Black kid fishing and taking it serious. And I can give you a quick example of just like, I used to literally catch the bus with my fishing rods on the world famous Crenshaw Boulevard. We know Crenshaw Boulevard is famous for everything. And I used to ride the RTD, which is the MTA now, up and down Crenshaw Boulevard to my local lakes with my fishing rods. And people used to look at me like, who's this little Black kid on the bus by himself or with his brother? Where are you guys going? What are y'all doing? And, it grew, you grow to know and love and just appreciate that attention. But at the same time, the first stereotypical thing that you have to shake is the fact that most people think that, especially Black fish people or fishermen for that fact, they think that we're all about catch and eat. And that's not necessarily the case with me for the most part, especially when I'm fishing for bass or in these tournaments. Okay. And that's something that my mother, being a Black mom, she had to really get a grasp of at an early stage when we were fishing, because we would go fishing. And she gave us money or whatever to catch the bus and gave us money to buy bait or whatever. And we're like, yeah, we caught some fish today. And she's like,
where my fish at?
Where they at? She's like, where they at? And we're like, we threw them back. You threw them back? She was not about that. She was not like, she didn't comprehend that. But the more she got to understand and understand what our goal and our mission, that was like our push. She started to support us more and more with that. Well, and the segue to that is that's the stereotype that you have to shake, because people, when they meet me or they see me, the first thing they think, oh, you fish? Oh man, shit, y'all be eating good. Y'all be eating good. And 9 times out of 10, I'm really not eating. I am eating good, but it's not the catch that I've caught. Because we as fishermen, we have to be environmentalists because we practice what we call CPR, and that's catch, photo, release. And that's a big thing for us because being a conservationist in the fishing world, there's so many good fishermen and there's so many guys out there. If we really kept all the fish that we caught, we really wouldn't have anything to catch because the fish just don't grow as fast, or they don't have babies as fast as you think they would, because there's a lot of predators and a lot of other things that they have to go through. So the catch, photo, release is a big thing for us. And, first of all, shaking that stereotype, once I get people to understand the type of fishing we do, there's a whole different mindset. And just speaking about the fact about being a black guy in the fishing world, especially heavy engraved in the fishing industry, where it's predominantly always been a white man's sport. Coming back from the days of, it's a Southern thing. It's a East thing for sure. These guys are coming from areas where there's not a lot of black people, and it's predominantly white guys who have ruled this sport for forever. They got their shirts tucked in. Nobody has no swag. Everybody's kind of like run of the mill type of same guy, got the same country drawl. And then you get guys like us, and I'm not the only one out there now, but there's literally a handful of us, and I'm not exaggerating, a handful of us. I can probably count 10 guys who are really serious in the whole game about this. And it's starting to evolve and it's starting to change things. And there are challenges. I do see that, there's some opportunities that I feel like that I could have had that I feel like I was more than qualified for. And I just didn't get, or, there's some situations where, and I'm going to give you a real time example of like today, right now in the day and age of social media and Instagram and things like that. There could be guys like me or other guys like me or who look like me who are putting together solid content, because social media is a platform for fishermen as far as garnishing sponsorships and relationships with companies to help you in your pursuit of bass fishing. And we could be putting out some very good content. We could be putting out some really home run stuff, and we won't get the recognition that a lot of these other guys who are in different races are getting. We get a lot of unnecessary hate, and I'm using hate like, haters, a lot of haters just for the fact they see me. I have a Ranger boat, which is one of the most glorious boats on the land. And, they're like, oh, this guy, he's out here wearing J's and he's fishing in a Ranger boat. A lot of guys just aren't cool with that. So, I have to fight even that much harder as a black man to get recognized, or for lack of a better term, accepted, because I'm not trying to be accepted. I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless. But I do want to make sure that I'm a positive figure for my sponsors and the partnerships that I have, because I do have sponsors, people you see back here on this wall. That's just a few of them. And then also for my son as well. I try to be a good father figure for him, because he realizes that fishing is a big part of our life as well.
I love that. I mean, you said a mouthful, right? So
yes, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
No, I absolutely love your passion for this sport, right? So a lot of people who may not be involved in fishing in any type of manner, whether it's recreational or professional, they may not think that there's a lot to come from it. But when we see different people in different sports, different backgrounds, and they experience things differently, they bring a completely different perspective to the entire world just because of who they are in the different rooms that they walk in. So let's unpack a little bit. So you see this banner says diversity and inclusion issues. So technically, from what you said, that is still an issue that you are facing. Hi, handsome. That you are facing in pro fishing. So, and we've seen so many issues, especially this year, with the stay-at-home orders from COVID-19, which has made people become extremely aware, or just wake up and actually look at what's going on with Black Lives Matter and diversity issues that need to actually be implemented in different programs, with athletics, with society, period, right? Mm-hmm. So even with some of all of these adversities that you've been experiencing, there is still room to grow with diversity and inclusion in pro bass fishing.
Absolutely. I definitely want to say that, in bass fishing, there's a lot of room for that, and it's a regional thing as well. We have a lot of tournament organizations that won't even come out to the West Coast because they use an excuse of, it's too far for our guys to travel and things like that. I do wish that, more brands would recognize, an African-American person as being a valuable asset to their companies, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
We're capable of doing everything that these other guys are capable of as well. And we have other people that look up to us, people who ask us a lot of questions, and everything. And we have people like my son Ryder here, who's an avid fisherman as well.
That's cute.
To us as well. So, I just feel like, I'm looking for some more opportunities. I'm actually in a situation right now where I've been affected by COVID because I was in an industry that has completely been wiped out. Just to give you, got to get too far down that line. I was a production manager in an event world where, we did trade shows and things like that. Events that our number one goal was to gather people together. And of course, that's the number one thing you can't do right now. So I'm in the process of trying to reinvent myself. So I'm hopefully trying to garner some more sponsorships and some partnerships with some people that can help me continue to pursue my dreams of just fishing on a local level, on a regional level, because bass fishing is a really, really expensive venture. Going out on a date, on a trip alone, most of the costs are fuel costs. So, if we can have the same opportunities that everybody else to get some of these paid sponsorships, because I'm noticing guys that are under the same umbrella that I'm on with some of these sponsors, and I'm not going to, there's guys that are on the same company. We're on the same company, but I am doing 10 times the stuff that they're doing, but they are getting checks, like real checks sent to their home to be under their sponsorship. And Rod Wynn is working 10 times as hard. He's not getting a check, unless he's doing that much more. So, it's still not an equal playing field out there, but like I said, I'm going to continue to do what I need to do to be a positive figure for my sponsors and produce good content and continue to be a good role model for those who are watching me, those who are following me, and especially this guy right here.
Yes. I can't stop saying it. He is so cute. He is so handsome. So absolutely, we want to make sure that we are holding ourselves up to exemplify the behaviors that we want our children to follow. We want to set those proper examples for them. And you said something about you and some other guys, because you guys are Black and you're creating content or you're creating things that can actually bring in additional income for you, you're being looked over for that. So how do you keep your mindset positive? How are you staying motivated in a volatile climate like this, something that is not only putting a dent into your side hustle, or your main hustle, I don't know which one it may be, but then also something that's also putting a dent into what your income would be in your sport, because you are being basically picked over for some of the other athletes who just generally, not that they're better than you, but they have a different skin color.
Yeah, and the first part starts with just my overall love and passion for the sport, or just for fishing altogether. That burns deep down inside of me, so that definitely keeps me motivated. That keeps me energized to continue to pursue what I want to pursue, because I'm gonna continue to push out that content. I'm gonna still do what I need to do, and it's kind of just like it's really hard, and I'm sure you can understand, and anyone else who's watching this right now can understand. Being an African American, we always have challenges where we're being overlooked, and especially people like you, women of color, who have to deal with it probably more than a man of color, where you're constantly looked over, you're constantly being stereotyped for this, that, and the third, when in reality, you're just as qualified and or more qualified than the person that is getting that opportunity, and you're being overlooked. So just like everybody in their own profession or their own, passion, you just keep your head down and just keep going. I try to listen to motivational people. I stick around. I watch people who are positive, people who are doing good in life. I'm not a hater. I love to see people who have good jobs, people who are lawyers and things like that. People who are doing positive things, because I know there are those opportunities. Your door is going to open. You have to keep with it, because if you give up, you could have gave up the day before your door opened. So
right.
Just a surefire and determination, and just knowing that eventually something is going to happen, because if you keep knocking on enough doors, one eventually is going to open. Exactly.
That reminds me of my grandmother who recently passed away, but I can't remember how old I was. And I remember being so afraid to ask for something. And she told me, she said, well, baby, if you don't ask, how will you ever know? She said, the only thing that someone can tell you is no. And exactly. What is the harm in that, right?
That's the worst thing. And, not to get too crazy off of what they're something like. I've lived that motto, especially when I was in my teens and 20s. Mm-hmm. I took that same approach when it came to approaching women. Like, I didn't care how bad or how good she looked. The worst thing she could do is say no. So I was going to shoot my shot.
Shoot your shot.
So I definitely understand that point there where, the worst thing they can say is no. They're not going to hit you. They can't beat you up. Hey, if it's not your chance, it's not your opportunity, you move on and knock on the next door.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, in all of the no's, it's building resiliency, tenacity. It's giving you a sense of purpose, and you have to reach down. If it's something that you truly aim for, that you really, really, really want, you will stay the course to make sure that it comes to fruition. So let's wrap up a little bit, because like I said in the beginning of this, I have not been a fan of fishing because I cannot sit out for forever.
I do want to speak to that point just a little bit.
Yes.
Because that's sort of a stereotype, and that's actually a big stereotype of fishing.
Really?
Yes. And you said it early on, and I do want to just point that out, is that, 9 times out of 10 people, when I tell them I'm a fisherman, they think I literally get a rod, I put a worm or something, mackerel or something on my hook, I cast it out there, I put the rod down, I grab a beer and I grab a snack and I just sit there. That is so far what we're not doing. With the way we're fishing, as far as like most of the time, you guys can see on my Instagram and also my YouTube. I see that you shared my social media channel, so thank you for that. But bass fishing is a real, it's a real intense, it's a real sport to where you're constantly casting. You're never just sitting ever. You're always looking for the next target. Your legs, like you see a tree right there, you need to cast and get next to that tree, because bass are they're species where they're going to hide under trees and rocks. So You're constantly casting, and just like Ryder knows, he knows to make that good cast. Yes, and you're going to throw what crankbait? Yes. On Thursday. So bass fishing is definitely it's the fishing that you are thinking there is that type of guy, but I don't fish like that hardly ever. Like hardly ever. It's always some real a real sport type of fishing. So it's a real cool deal.
Yeah, and one of our viewers said it is definitely an art and it's a real sport.
Yes, Robert. Thank you so much, Robert Jr. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. It definitely is.
So in every sport, right? You said this earlier. You picked up a rod. You were about 5 years old, and you fell in love. You fell in love with the sport, right? And if we go and we look at some athletes in different sports, some of them have some of the same stories. They either picked up a basketball, they kicked a soccer ball, or hit a baseball, and they fell in love with it, and it's something they've stuck with. So in each and every sport and everything that we do, even in my profession as a lawyer, there are some things that I've gone through individually because of who I am as a lawyer, where entering this environment has taught me different things. So what are some powerful lessons that you have taken away from pro bass fishing, or something that you are still in the process of learning and just trying to get your bearings on, that you can pass on to the next generation of fishing pros?
I think one of the most powerful things for bass fishing or fishing in general is that, there's a cliche say that a bad day fishing is better than a great day at work. So that's one thing I've learned about that for sure. But that's all jokes aside. You take away from the fact that no matter what happens throughout the day, you should always learn something. You don't always catch something when you learn. You don't always catch something when you go fishing. There are times where I go out there and I don't catch a thing, but I try to make sure I took something away from that day that's definitely going to help me in a future fishing trip. Because, it could be something where the water, because there's so many different variables in fishing, especially bass fishing, from water clarity to the moon phase, to the sun, to the wind, to the current, water clarity. And water, it's just so much. So you have to keep a virtual, or not a virtual, just like a memory bank of these types of the climate and all that stuff. So you think you have to remember, on this day, the weather was like this. Well, let's remember that next time, because you might have to run into this again. So don't ever come away from the day as if it was a wasted day. It's always a day full of learning, full of being outdoors, and just being outdoors and just enjoying the elements. And it's been a great thing. Fishing has been a great thing to know and to have in my pocket, especially right now during the pandemic, because it's one of the things that is allowed. It's you can fish in social distance because you're really around nobody. When I go out on my boat, I'm with nobody. So I enjoy the thing that I love the most and go out with my son and my friends.
Sometimes with me.
With my son, and we can have a good time and enjoy fishing, and just bringing him out there and creating these lasting memories, because it's not totally about me anymore. It's about him and his experiences and him growing to know and love it. So, if he grows up to want to be a fisherman, I'm all for it. But I tell him all the time, if you don't want to go, I'm still going to go.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, I have so enjoyed this. And guys, to stay connected with Rod, make sure you go and follow him on all social media platforms at Rod Wynn Fishing. What is it, little man?
TikTok.
Oh, okay. So he's on TikTok as well. So you guys definitely make sure you follow him. I have absolutely learned a lot in this interview. We have learned that there are so many adversities that fishing athletes are impacted with, especially when you are Black and coming into a predominantly white sport, but also keeping your head up and staying motivated is the key to success, to keep doing something that you absolutely love. Don't let anyone push you out of something that you truly enjoy doing. I want you guys to go and follow me on Facebook and Instagram at What Are You Sporting About? Make sure you get your book. We have a book here. Okay, What Are You Sporting About? This book is for it's for aspiring, current, and former athletes in business. So we also talked about being the only one in the room. And in this book, I do break down and talk about how I was the only Black soccer player as a kid, and not having representation, it matters. And now we are still finding ourselves being the first in the rooms, trying to pave the way for the next generation. So go ahead and check out that book. And listen, if you want to just stay connected with me, make sure that you sign up for my newsletters at prosportlawyer.com. I'm also going to be hosting a 4-week course on ins and outs of contracts starting February 1st. So if you are the athlete that is in business, thinking about starting business, or you are someone who maintains a net 6-figure business, you need to be in the room. Make sure you go to my law firm website and sign up for that. And I'll put that in the chat for you guys right now. So you want to go to DeBarros.com.
And I just want to throw this out there, just because this is my opportunity to do so. If anyone out there needs to get any more brand impressions and they're looking to support somebody that's in a positive environment, I do a lot of traveling in my vehicle. We can do wrap vehicles, wrap boats. We can talk about a deal. So if you guys have any opportunities that anybody wants to throw my way, I'm all ears, and I definitely appreciate it.
Where would they connect with you at?
All of my social medias is fine. They can connect on me on social media, Rod Wynn Fishing. Or if you want to send me an email, it's rodwynfishing@gmail.com.
All right. So you guys heard him, rodwynfishing@gmail.com. So I'll do you one better. What we'll do is we'll get all of his information, and it will go out in the new year in our newsletter. So all of you guys can stay connected with him and make sure you get your branding on deck. If you need a sponsor, holla at Rod. Okay. It has been my pleasure, Rod. Thank you so much for coming and bringing that little cutie with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was so fun. It looks good too. This is like professional right here. You got your scrolling bar down there, and your little changing of your subjects and stuff. I like that.
I'm trying to do something right. Okay,
man, I like that.
One looking crazy, but
Wynn fishing.
Yep.
Rod Wynn fishing. So look, guys, I'm so glad that you joined us today. Thank you for the comments and for interacting with us. This is Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes. I am here to guide you, support you, and educate you to your next level. Until next time, take care. Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success, because we're all sporting about something.